So you're saying your son is 4 now?
Yeah.
All right.
He turns 4 on July 14th.
Okay. So what's the morning routine you're about to talk to me about?
So I try to, I have a daughter too. She's 2.5.
Yeah.
And she, first of all, she sleeps longer than Declan really ever has. Like,
Okay.
she'll sleep until 8:30. She needs her sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
she's more difficult to get down the night before. She wakes up still during the night. So I kind of let her go. Declan is a great sleeper. And he just always wants to hang out anyway. So it's easy for me to like wake up, shower, and then get him, like wake him up even if he's not awake, just to kind of hang out in the morning. Cause I don't see him. I never feel like I get enough time with him. So if I can spend time with him in the morning or both of them, like if Delilah wakes up, great. Like I love seeing him before I leave for work. So yesterday I got up early and took Jake, my dog, for a walk. And I told Declan that when I got home from work, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, like I want to go on a walk with you and Jake." And I'm like, "Okay, sweet. I'll wake you up tomorrow morning before I leave for work, and you can come with us." He's like, "Oh, okay, thank you, Dad. Like, thank you so much." He's so thankful about it.
Yeah.
So,
and he's 4.
He's 4, dude. He is like the most perceptive kid I've ever met. I mean, it's insane. So he's so thankful and grateful, and he says this. And so I woke him up this morning. I woke up late, but then I woke up Declan, and I was like, "Hey, let's just take Jake I promised you we would take Jake for a walk, so we'll just walk to the park and then back. It's real close." And so we do that. But normally the routine is he typically wakes up as I'm like kind of getting out of the shower or as I'm getting in the shower, and we kind of spend the morning together. And then he helps me make my eggs because I like meal prep eggs before I leave for work. I just put them in a Tupperware and go. And then, or he helps my wife make coffee or helps her make eggs. And what, he just wants to be involved in the process. And then every morning, like clockwork, he grabs something of mine that I'm bringing out the door. Whether it's my coffee, I have a coffee and a shot of espresso every morning.
Okay.
And then like my backpack, my gym bag, whatever. He'll ask me if he can help me bring anything out to my truck. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So he brings that out for me, and then we do hugs and kisses and everything. And then he tells me, he goes, "Daddy, I want to ask you something." I'm like, okay. And he's like, "You be safe, you drive safe, you have a good day." And he thinks about what else he wants to tell me. And then once he's all done, we give each other a kiss, a hug, and everything. And then I get in my truck, I pull out of the driveway, and typically what I do is I'll pull forward, and then I'll reverse back, and I roll down my window, and I honk my horn for him. And then at that time, he starts sprinting. We live one house from like the block, the end of the block. And so he'll just like start sprinting, and he'll race my truck all the way to the end of the block. And then this morning it was really cute. Like he got there. I always let him win. And he gets there, and he's like, "I win." I'm like, "Hey bud, like see you later. Love you." And he's like, hug. And I'm like, throw the truck and park, get out of the car. And, we live in a quiet neighborhood. There's nothing ever like going on. So it's safe for him and everything. So yeah, it's fun. It's a great morning routine.
So a couple of things have happened since last time we've chatted.
Yeah.
So not all in one fell swoop, but more or less you were starting to get into running at that point. You were rocking at your job. You only had one. You had one kid at that point, right? Brand new.
Maybe. When was the last time I did the podcast? Like 4 years ago?
Yeah.
It was probably okay. So
she might have been pregnant.
Well, actually, yeah, because I had gotten sober and lost a bunch of weight, right? And then came on the podcast, and I think she was pregnant.
Okay,
when
gotcha.
did the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I got sober December 24th or 25th, whatever, basically Christmas of 19. And then we had Declan July 14th of 20. Okay. And so I think in between there is when I would have came here. Yeah. So yeah, lots has happened. Yeah.
just a couple things.
Yeah.
So we'll go a little bit chronological there. So how did you pick the running, and how have you stuck with it for so long?
My dad was a runner.
Okay.
Not like a runner, but he had cholesterol issues.
Okay.
And so when he went to the doctor said, "We can put you on a statin, or you can completely change your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You start eating really, really clean, cut out red meat, and start exercising." So he started running at that time.
Most people would have chosen the statin.
Yeah. And he ended up like years down the road also needing a statin. just to kind of keep it at like healthy levels. But
Right.
he's really, really healthy, and he's just always had. I think it's a genetic thing. I think
sure.
that high cholesterol runs in our family. So yeah, he picked that route, and that was a great example to me. I was always, an athlete, played soccer and all that stuff. So the active lifestyle was something that was very easy for me to latch onto. So anyway, long story short, he ran. So I hated running when I played soccer because it was always a punishment. If you did something wrong, and I was a goalie too. So
I was surprised that you had to do too much running, but as a punishment, you were thrown in there.
Oh yeah, and like we would do sprints or long distance running. Like we would always do this thing called the bomb, which was like you would run one segment of the field, like from corner flag to the half, and then you would jog the next segment, and then you would do two, and then you would get a cool down. So it's like kind of intervals, and you build up to where you're basically sprinting around the whole field. So yeah, I would always go off to the side and do my goalie training separately, which was like, to me, that was always fun. Like the field player training was just running with a ball at your foot, I was like, I was doing ladders, doing agility, and then like trying to dive as far as I possibly could across a goal, which was like really exciting. I found it to be exciting. So the running part was always, like I said, kind of a punishment, but I was always actually pretty good at it. Like I endurance wise, I was able to keep up with everybody.
Which is surprising for a goalie, because most of the goalies that I dealt with, that was not what we saw. Yeah. But also, I wasn't on the high level team, so maybe that's why.
I don't know. It was kind of always a shock to me that I could kind of hold my own with the field players, because we would do indoor training sometimes and run on the track. And, when everybody else seemed like they were kind of fatigued, I would be able to just go. And I think maybe it was because of like the hybrid style training that I did as a goalie, because I did a lot of strength and like the up, down, squat, the thing, like you don't even look at it as like a workout when you're training in high school and college. But having the running part of it, doing that with the field players, but then also doing more strength oriented stuff where you're getting down and up. I'm sure that it has a really good effect on like your skeletal muscle structure and all that stuff, and you build strength that way and endurance in a different way. So I don't know. I've also always felt like I'm just pretty athletic, just generally. I mean, you are too. Like we can just kind of go. So
it's nice to have that. And I went rock climbing for the first time in maybe like 3-4 years, and I was still able to do like most 5-10 minuses, whatever that is. But my wife, she's been on and off pregnant for the last 3 years, and then nursing and whatnot, and then she's rocking the same things too. I'm like, no.
It brings you down a level. You're like, damn, I thought I was really killing it over here. I guess this is a little bit easier than I expected.
So doing a bunch of running, kind of stuck with that, wasn't super hard. Was there anything you tried to add in that you weren't able to, or something that was really tough that it took a while to add into the lifestyle you have?
Now or back then?
Or just along the way?
Well, the diet has always been an issue for me. Like, and not so much like a huge issue. It was an issue when I drank, because it was just alcohol and then terrible, crappy food, because it was just like a terrible cycle of I'm hungover and I want to eat crap. Now it's just like the fine tuning and like, there's a ton of science that goes into it. Like, what type of body type are you? What do you need more of? Like carbohydrates, protein, whatever. How do you structure your diet? So I've always been really bad at just putting in the effort of like getting to the next level of like taking my lifestyle and like really dialing it in. But then I'm also kind of like trying to find balance of is it really worth like killing myself over to reach like a certain body fat percentage, so absolutely. But no, that's really it. Like, ever since since the whole sobriety thing, like everything is kind of just slowly but surely like kind of fallen into place in a way that like I am very happy with where I'm at in my life and like comfortable with that. I'm trying to just be present as a dad for the most part. Right. And I feel the more present that I am and the better that I'm treating myself, that overflows into, being a better husband, better father, that kind of thing.
So what does the eating look like? And I would say like, you look very in shape.
Thank you. Like, I appreciate it.
I think if we were talking maybe 7-8 years ago and you're like, oh, I really got to dial this in, like I would say, are you comfortable with like 90% of where you are as far as eating wise, like
right.
fairly healthy on that end? But you're just trying to pick things here or there, may not be perfect, but just like in general, pretty healthy. Would that be a good assumption?
For sure.
Yeah. So what does that look like to you?
I still, for the most part, intermittent fast.
Okay.
So that's something that was like a huge, something that really got me to lose weight. I mean, as you know, I was like, 280 when I stopped drinking, and then I'm now like 220, 225.
Still moved stupid well, though.
Yeah. I could get up and down the field.
I felt so bad for defenders trying to body
you.
Yeah,
the extra weight helped me sometimes, man. It was just like, get out of my way, truck's coming. And it was fun, but obviously I wasn't really happy internally with where I was at with things then. But my diet. So I try to keep it clean, and that's where I say I think that I could do a much better job of figuring out what food categories and groups that I need to do, because I mean I eat. Like every morning I'll scramble up a few eggs with some cheese, bring it to work, have a protein shake, eggs. Sometimes I'll have yogurt with like blueberries and honey. For the most part, and I don't do a very good job of cutting out the sweets, but that's like the only junk food that I really ever eat.
Yeah.
Is like, if I see cake, dude, I'm all in. And I'll so a good example, the other day, so Sunday I told Kim, my wife, that I was going to cut out sweets. Okay. Just trying to like cut out anything with sweets, because I know I feel like crap when I eat it. Yeah. And so I told her Sunday night. Monday she calls me on my way home from work. She's like, "Will you pick us up Oberweis?" And I'm like, I can't say no to my wife, but also like because she's a rock star. She does everything. So when she asked me like once in a blue moon to pick up ice cream on the way home, I'm not gonna be like, no. Like I just so. I did it, and of course I knew when I got home I was going to eat it, and I was going to overindulge just like I thought I would, and I did, and ended up laying in bed like for like an hour after that, like trying not to fall asleep, or like also dozing off and then waking back up. I was so cranky. I was just like, because I just came down from the sugar high, because I also don't eat a ton of sugar as it is. Yeah. So generally my diet, I try to just eat as much single source ingredients as like possible. Okay. So eggs, meat. I'll have Greek yogurt, but with no vanilla flavoring in it or anything like that. I use honey as like my sweetener and blueberries and fruit. And then usually at dinner, maybe I'll throw in I'll have like chips and salsa and chips and guac or whatever. So I try to keep it as clean as possible. I don't always do the best job, just because you know how it is with kids. You go to Chick-fil-A and it's like, oh, you didn't eat your nuggets or your tenders? Darn. Oh, darn. Oh, child number 2, you didn't finish your food either? Sweet. So then I'll just be the garbage disposal at that point. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. I drink a lot of water and coffee in the morning, and electrolytes. I don't think there's really anything outside of that. So
where did you come up with the hey, I'm going to go the single ingredient food? Was that a evolution of how you figured out what you're going to be eating? Was it from a suggestion from a friend, a book? How did you get to that way of eating? Yeah,
so just kind of slowly but surely, as I've adopted this new lifestyle over the past few years, I mean, I try to consume, I don't try to, but I just do consume a lot of different content. And whether it be podcasts, I listen to the Huberman podcast, I listen to Joe Rogan podcast, and I kind of just hand select guests or different episodes that I think are aligned. I mean, I even, I watched the whole Liver King rise and fall and that whole thing. And it was like, oh, should I be eating liver? And I'm like, and I always knew it was kind of a hoax, but at the same time, I don't know Liver King, and I don't know nothing about that whole thing. I just saw what he was doing. But I think that there is, there's value to what he's saying, which is just if you clean up your diet, you can live a healthier lifestyle. You don't necessarily have to eat raw liver, right? But if you're eating just simple foods, and so there's another guy on Instagram that I started following, and I've always enjoyed steak, meat, vegetables, things without sugar, and I've always known just by the way that my body responds to heavy carbs, heavy sugar, I just feel like junk. And so kind of looking inward at what the old diet looked like and what I kind of, like you said, like kind of want to evolve to. Just with experimentation, I tried the carnivore lifestyle for like a week, and I just couldn't get past like the headaches and just like the carb withdrawal. And so I thought, okay, maybe that's a little extreme. I don't necessarily need to do that, but also a kind of hybrid style of that where I'm just doing like meat, fruits, veggies, and kind of keeping it simple. I also have to give mad credit to Emily, my the director of corporate fitness at where I work, Windy City Wire. Yeah, because she's just an open book. Like you can talk to her about anything when it comes to diet and exercise and things like that. And we're pretty good friends. So I run a lot of things by her, and often she's I think she's vegetarian, maybe vegan, one of the two. And so every time I tell her that I'm going on like a high meat diet, she's just like, oh, Justin, like, what are you doing? So we don't see eye to eye in that regard all the time. But I try to listen to her. Like she'll be like, okay, eat the meats, but also include the veggies. And, that can help with a lot of things. So I try to just listen to kind of really anyone who seems like they have some credibility in the space and try things out and see what my body responds to.
So I think most people, when they listen to a podcast, maybe it's Huberman or maybe it's Rogan. I mean, I'd say they both do a good job of saying afterwards, but they have a guest on that says, this is exactly what you need to do 100% of the time. Do this, do this, do this. How do you get out of the way of, oh, I didn't do it 100%. Now I'll just go back to my old ways. How do you keep up with the consistently doing a good job of eating?
I mean, for me, it's just performance and like goal driven.
Okay.
I want to be able to run far, and like, I also, one of the things that I kind of have been trying to get away from is like concerning myself with like the perfect aesthetic, look and things like that. Like,
it's so hard.
For like my whole life, I've always wanted to just look shredded, and I've never quite understood why, I can be in such good shape. Like I can go out and I can run and I can perform and I can, outwork anybody in the gym, but like, why am I not just like cut up? You know what I mean? And so, I actually told Kim this the other night. The biggest thing for me, it's not even that like I don't have the body. It's more like the work that I put in, you would expect it, like the body to follow. You know what I mean? And so, like the results of working out and like going for runs and doing all this weight training and all that, you would expect it to then like result in having this like body that you would be I don't even want to say happy with, but just like they go hand in hand. That's kind of the expectation. So yeah, I've always like chased, since I've gotten back into like the healthier lifestyle, I've chased, once I got to 230, I wanted to get to 220. Once I got to 220, and I'm also monitoring body fat because we have an in-body at our gym at work. And so I monitor body fat, and, in a perfect world, I would love to just like get down to 14% and call it and be like, oh, sweet, I'm happy here. But I know in the back of my mind, it would never be like, okay, 14%. Now maybe I would chase like a new goal because that's just how I am. But really at the end of the day, what I try to tell myself is enjoy the little things, enjoy, like if you want to have some ice cream with the kids every once in a while, fine. Just know you're going to feel like shit afterwards. And make sure that it never really snowballs. And that was always my issue, was the drinking was the catalyst for like the snowball effect. Now that I don't have that, it's really easy for me to just kind of like jump back into like the normal healthy day to day. For me, consistency is key, and going to work every single day I find is like a big thing because I'm eating. I have to kind of prep for what I'm going to do at work. I'm not at home snacking all the time. So if I don't have a ton of food at work, like, sometimes I overbuy stuff at Costco. I'll buy like a huge jar of almonds and I'll bring it to work, or like a bunch of peanut butter. And for that month, I'll just put peanut butter on everything. And it's like, dude, you don't really need that much fat in your day every single day. But I enjoy it, and so then once I run out of peanut butter, I tell myself, don't do that again. Just, leave the peanut butter at home and things like that. So for me, it's just a constant I just constantly try to remind myself, and really I go off a feel too.
Yeah.
If I go to bed at the end, if at the end of the day I go to bed and I feel gross, I feel like bloated or whatever, I'm like, you didn't really do a good job with your diet today.
Yeah.
So I'll wake up the next day and I'll think, okay, how can I improve on that? But it ebbs and flows, I'm kind of like everybody. So.
Yeah, Jessica and I were arguing yesterday, and then she looked in the garbage and saw what I ate. I think it was the candy from Trader Joe's, and she's like, "You ate a whole bag, and you had this and this. No wonder you're in a terrible mood." I'm like, "What? No, you're in a bad mood."
Yep.
I had no argument.
Yeah.
I had nothing.
Yep.
She's like, "I'll talk to you later."
Yeah. Literally after the Oberweis thing, Kim walked in our room and I was just like, I had literally fallen asleep, and then I woke up and she said something. I was like, "Can you just get me water already?" I was just like, dude. And then I always try to be present when I'm just cranky, and I just try to tell her like, "Babe, maybe we shouldn't talk for the next hour because I just overconsumed." Yeah.
So obviously the physical stuff is going pretty well. Had to stay on top of the mental stuff. Do you journal? It sounds like you're working on being present. Like, how do you figure out those things? What works best for you?
I don't have a good method. I don't journal. I do try to take notes and like keep things, like if I need to write things down. Really the mental for me is running.
Okay.
Running really keeps me present. Like I've had a very busy week at work because we've had a bunch of our team members from outside branches come in. And so we've done, it's just been like a high volume talking to people and just a kind of intense week. And so I told my trainer yesterday, I was like, I need to just go for a run, like run for as long as I want. So when I run, I find myself thinking about the important things to me in life, and that keeps me grounded. I think about like how I can improve, how I can be present, what I can do with my kids, like what can I do more of when I'm with them and around them that's not like trying to like push them away or like need like me time, because ultimately I will get my me time, but when they crave dad's attention, I have to remind myself that I only get 3-4 hours out of the day with them. And so it's a privilege to be able to spend time with them and not just be like, oh man, I want me time now. I have to remind myself, worry about yourself later and give yourself to the kids when they want it. So yeah, there's that. And then also back to the diet thing, like we were talking about, when I eat like crap, that I'm cranky. And sometimes it doesn't just boil over to my wife, it can boil over to the kids. And so that's another reason why I just try my best to like cut out the sugars and cut out the things that I know kind of put me into more of a downward spiral, if you will, of like mental health. And then that can affect my relationship with my kids. And I want none of that. So I'm constantly striving to be better each day rather than ever go backwards. So, I mean, honestly, like running, just because of, you asked earlier, what got me into running. Running was really the first thing that was kind of showing signs of helping with weight loss. When I got sober. And I just kind of latched onto it. I had experience with it because of my dad, and I would run with him. And obviously with soccer in my background, like I was kind of built to be a runner. Or built to at least be able to run.
For sure.
I'm definitely not the typical runner body type and all that. But so that gave me like the peace of mind, and it was just always something that could kind of free me, especially for the first 6 months of sobriety, like free me from any cravings or any ideas of wanting to maybe go back to that lifestyle. It was like running reminded me of what freedom felt like. And so it still remains. I mean, literally one of my favorite things to do in this world is run in like different places. Like when I travel for work, I go, I'll go to California and I'll find somewhere along the beach to run, and I'll just run for a while. Or up in Lake Geneva. My mom has a place up right outside Lake Geneva, and that's like my number one favorite place in the world to run is along the lake path of Lake Geneva, because I don't need headphones. I don't need anything. I can just listen to the waves and be present in that moment. And so, I probably could journal and things like that, but I think that's kind of just the thing that really keeps me grounded as much as I at least try to be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think, like you said, importantly, it's about what you enjoy doing. Like if I force someone to go for a run, the whole time they're going to be thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Where
dude, it sucks. It sucks so bad, especially if you're not a runner. Like, I hated running for the first couple months.
Yeah.
But then once I shedded 30 pounds, 15, 20 pounds, it started getting easier slowly but surely. But, you wear a MyZone band, and if you're not a runner, you're in the red the whole time.
Right.
And it's like, that sucks. I'm in the green the whole time now.
Yeah.
It's just like a cruise, but I've been doing it for 4.5 years. Mm-hmm. So, like, to your point, you can't really force somebody to do something that maybe they don't enjoy. Mm-hmm. But I think a good learning lesson with all of those things is you can find joy and you can find peace in things that maybe you might not like think of at the forefront of your mind. Mm-hmm. You might not think of exercise as something that's really going to bring you mental clarity and stuff. And I think that a lot of people could probably learn from that. It's like, you got to go through the hard things and do the hard things in order to reap the rewards of those difficult things.
I've been listening to, I was going to say I've been reading a lot of books on motivation. I've been listening to a lot of books on motivation. Yep. That's just how it's going to happen.
Dude, you're a dad of two.
And they're like, just imagine a hamster on a hamster wheel. Like, it gets on, it moves around, like it's still working, it's doing stuff. So like, it wants to be on that hamster wheel. But if you put another hamster next to it and keep that hamster in there, whenever that other hamster runs, that one has to move. Mm-hmm. That one's going to be pissed. It's not going to be happy to be doing it because somebody else told you. So that's like doing something that somebody else, like, it's totally where your mindset is, how you're setting yourself up to do it. So it seems like it's working pretty well for you.
Thanks.
Now, you mentioned the work stuff, and I was trying to remember, did we talk about exactly what you do? Because I know that you're always traveling a bunch. It seems fantastic. What about your job do you enjoy the most?
There's a lot of things I enjoy about my job.
I remember last time that you would either work out with a lot of the guys there, or just like, it seemed like there was a good culture of like fitness mattered. Yeah, that's what I remember about the conversation.
No, absolutely. So I work at Windy City Wire. I'm an inside sales rep there. We are a leading we're a leading manufacturer in wire and cable technology. So what we do is we sell low voltage cable to electricians, integrators, even end users, sometimes contractors. So if you see high rise going up in Tampa, Florida, then most likely the contractor that's doing the work for fire alarms, for security systems, that kind of stuff, they're pulling Windy City Wire cable.
Very cool. Can you guys fix what happened in Hawaii, or is that not you guys?
We can try, but we can't really do anything. We don't install anything, but we can supply the contractors with whatever they need. Call me, dude, if you need anything. So what I love about my job, obviously selling wire and cable doesn't probably sound like the most glamorous thing in the world. And that's how it was pitched to me from my career counselor when he told me about the job. He's like, it's kind of a behind the scenes type gig. Like, you're not going to be, from a sales perspective, necessarily interacting with I don't know. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And like, especially an inside sales role, typically you're just in the office all the time. And pounding the phone and entering orders and things like that. What really sets my work apart is just like you said, like the culture and the leadership team. My CEO is a huge advocate of health and wellness.
Okay.
And that has that trickled down from not only him, but from every kind of branch or every manager that's underneath him. Okay. When I first started, it was a completely different culture, and it was
really?
It was evolving. Okay. Yeah. So I came into the company. I can't say it was completely different, but I think that it was on the way to becoming what it was. Okay. It just wasn't there yet, you know. So I got hired. I was the only person that got hired as a new sales rep. We didn't have the fitness facility that we have now. We didn't have the director of wellness. We didn't have locker rooms and a cafeteria. We did have a cafeteria, but it was just kind of like go in, get your job done, and that's it. And especially for a new guy like me, being the only guy that comes into an already established inside sales team, it was kind of like I'm I'm the guy that's trying to take off everybody's plate. Right. So in my behavior back then was probably not the best. I was kind of a young idiot kid. Well, I was drinking a lot. So like at events, I was kind of the I was the loud drunk kid that, was just kind of invincible type thing. Now, obviously, at least I like to think like I've kind of matured a little bit and I'm more of like in getting into the veteran role. But back then it was tough. I mean, and I always had to remind myself that it's going to be tough anywhere you go. Like any new role, you have to grind your teeth. You have to put in the hard work in order to kind of reap the rewards. You're not going to be able to just jump into something and automatically be successful. So for 2 years, I grinded away, and during that time, like a year and a half in, they did a huge remodel. They added the gym, locker rooms, all that stuff that came directly from our CEO. And like I said, he's very much into that industry, and his whole mindset, I think, was more like fit individuals and people that prioritize health and wellness are going to be happier at work, happier employees, lead to better results. That kind of thing.
Throw these bad boys up here. Your hands are there. All right,
so that was great, and at that point, I mean, everything flipped like on a dime. It was crazy. Yeah, we brought in Emily, and we started having like workout classes. People that never interacted together started interacting. The focus was just like come one, come all, and everybody try to better yourself. And then that just like opened up a dynamic between every department. Purchasing department knew the sales guys knew the AP and the AR ladies, and everybody was just like laughing and like having fun together. So that changed things, and it's great that it did. I mean, it was still a great company to work for and always was going to be, but once you kind of implemented that, it really took off.
A good way of like team building without you like having to go somewhere and it's forced and it's just like
after hours, Top Golf at 5, like mandatory that everybody's kind of just like, okay, I'm just here to drink and then go home. Yeah, 100%.
Like every once in a while, I know some friends that like they have those they have to go to and they enjoy them every once in a while, but like if they have something going on all the time, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
But that gym stuff sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it really is. It helps. I'm a huge proponent of it. I mean, I don't use the gym as much in the summer because I just chase the tan during the sun, or while we have good sunlight hours and high UV ratings. I always tell people like in a perfect world, I would wake up early, run, and then lift during lunch and do kind of like a 2-a-day thing because we have about 45 minutes to an hour while we're on lunch, and that's about that we cap it at that in terms of time limit. So it's not. I would love to spend an hour and a half in the gym all day, like in a perfect world. But knowing that I at least can get 45 minutes to an hour at the gym at work, I'm like a little bit less incentivized.
But now we're chasing the tan.
Yeah. Yes. Every day. Every day, man. Today I did 6 miles at lunch. And I think I went when it was like a 7 or an 8 UV rating. So
how do you pick your distance? You just whatever you can get in that day or that 45-minute slot. How do you pick how far you're going?
It's usually 4 to 6 miles is kind of how I break it down. So if I do 4, I'll throw in weights and abs and things like that. If I do 6, then usually I just kind of cap it at 6, hit the showers, and I'm done. I'm not training for anything right now. I'm not doing anything that requires me to follow a certain program. When I did my half marathon training, it was 45 minutes was like a short run. It was like hour and 15, hour and a half on certain days. So I kind of just do what feels right. If like yesterday, I woke up, I had a little bit of crick in my neck, and I didn't really want to push it. I've been putting in the hours and
put that on it.
I did put that on it. Of course I put that on it. I put this on it. And then I put this on it before my run. And I feel great now.
Yeah. So where on earth did this even the idea of it pop into your head? Because I feel like to start something like this, like what did you have in your head for a while? Like where did it all come from?
No, I did not have it in my head for a while, but going back to like high school days, I always kind of knew I've always had like an entrepreneurial itch.
Yeah.
And always wanted to start something. I mean, it's.
Well, we're scratching it now.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm in it now. And it's great. I love it. And it's cool because it's something that it's passion oriented for me. You know, Vital Athlete, which obviously we're talking about now, is the new company that I started back in May. I threw my back out in January, right before a ski trip. And so I went to my chiropractor, shout out Dr. Whitney. And he
Where's
got
Dr. Whitney out of?
Naperville.
Naperville, okay.
Yeah, he's like 95th Show Place area there. He actually came into Windy City Wire, another reason why I love Windy City Wire. Like, he came in and did kind of an orientation, or kind of like, hey, you know, the presentation, let me sort you guys out. Emily arranged that. So anyway, so I went into him. I never was like a chiropractor person either. Like, I always was just nervous as hell thinking about somebody just cracking my neck that way. I was like, I'm gonna be paralyzed. But once I met him, I literally, when he came in and he started talking about every single thing that he knew and just his experience and how articulate he was and the way that he knew the body, I was like, okay, you feel like somebody I can trust. So I started going to him just when I would have issues, like if I would get a back spasm or whatever. Not even a back spasm, but just any sort of issue from lifting, I would go see him. And so this is a kind of funny story. So I was lifting back in the gym, and we have like 10-foot ceilings or maybe even higher. But basically, I can touch rim on a basketball hoop, so it's right around that. And so I was just vibing out to some music, going to get some water, and I decided I want to jump up and try and touch the ceiling or, you know, the overhang, and I got it. But then as I reached, I like overextended my lat, and just like it just went like contracted on me, and it was just terrible. The next week, I had a ski trip. I was going out with my dad and my sister and the whole family to like Beaver Creek, and we were gonna go skiing. And I was like, oh my god, how am I can't ski like this. I'm in like terrible pain. So I called Whitney up, went and saw him that afternoon. He dry needled me a little bit, and he gave me the whole science behind like what a muscle does, which like I never even really knew. He's like, when you pull a muscle, it actually contracts on you. So what we're doing here is we're gonna try to loosen it up a little bit. Also, if you want something that can help with like the pain and kind of help you get through the next week, just try like any sort of CBD cream. Like, you can get it pretty much anywhere. So I Googled it. And found this like CBD balm that I ended up getting. I started putting on for like 2 days, and went to Colorado, brought it with me, and I love this stuff.
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked incredibly. Like, not only did it help with the pain, but I came home from the ski trip after using this stuff, and I was like 100% better.
Really?
And I was like, how is that possible? Like,
usually something like that, like you just got it for a while.
Yeah, right. Oh, I thought I pulled I thought it was like a bad muscle pull.
Yeah.
I thought that I was going to be down and out for like weeks and not be able to train or do any of that kind of stuff. And I can't say it was all the CBD, but I do know for a fact that it did help with the pain management,
Right.
like for sure. And I don't really care about pain, but when you're skiing and you're on your feet for 7 hours a day, like you get sore regardless. So I wanted something that would just kind of like make me feel a little bit better. But I mean, I was skiing like pretty much 100% the whole time. It seemed to get better with the day as like I would go on. Like every night I would get home, I'd be exhausted. We'd hit the hot tub. I'd be like just dead. And I would think to myself, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and my back is going to be killing me. Yeah. And every day I would wake up and it would feel better.
So what does CBD stand for?
Cannabinoid.
Cannabinoid.
Yeah.
Cannabinoid.
Yeah. So it, like, people know CBD because obviously it's associated with marijuana or hemp or cannabis, whatever you want to say. The THC side is a completely different animal. They're not related at all, unless a company that is manufacturing CBD products is adding THC into their CBD like formula. Then
they'll let you know though.
And you'd hope, or you'll buy it. But actually, it's interesting because people will like buy it. I have friends that I've talked to that didn't really know that they bought some sort of CBD lotion that had THC in it. So they don't necessarily have to let you know, but they should.
Okay.
And it matters when it comes to like, especially athletes and people that may be, high performing individuals, because they can get tested and get popped for THC.
Yeah.
CBD is generally
Which is wild that you can get popped for THC as a performance enhancing drug.
Right.
Like, that seems like
yeah. I don't think it's really enhancing anybody. Joe Rogan might say different. I mean,
Right.
he says like I think he smokes or whatever before he trains, and he says it like makes him hyper focused. So there are strains of marijuana out there that are almost like kind of an Adderall for people.
I feel like the best joke I heard about it was from like Robin Williams. This must have been a hell of a long time ago, when he said the only way it's enhancing it, there's like a big ass Snickers bar, like
enhancing the taste. Yeah.
It's like they're gonna run down that hill to go get that Snickers bar. It was like snowboarding or something like that.
Yeah.
But as far as the CBD goes, how does it? Is it just reducing inflammation? Is it just telling your body it doesn't hurt anymore? Does it stop the pain? How does it work?
So there's a lot of studies that say that CBD reduces inflammation. To back up, your body has an endocannabinoid system.
Okay.
CBD interacts with that, and so what it does is it assists in pain management by blocking pain receptors, reduces inflammation. I'm trying to think. It's like it relaxes you. So people don't take it just for pain management. They don't just take it to reduce inflammation. They take it also for like anxiety. I mean, there's like a wide range of different CBD products out there. And like we mentioned, I mean, you can have, there's different spectrums. So you have like broad spectrum, you have full spectrum, you have THC and CBD concoctions. Hi, buddy. So the CBD in itself reacts with your body in a way that, yes, it doesn't it's not going to take, it depends on the body part, right? Like, so if you have joint pain on your knees, it will like this pain cream would probably, if you lathered it on your knees, would probably take away the pain for hours, and you might not even feel it.
Is that kind of like caffeine, how it just blocks the receptors telling you you're tired? Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, but I think Advil works the same way, and ibuprofen. I think that it actually is like I mean, your pain isn't ever gonna go away 100% unless you're actually healed.
Right.
But like people with like chronic arthritis or chronic knee pain or something like that, what it is it's just, instead of going to the ibuprofen or the Advils or something like that, you just apply it topically, which to me, that's where the inception of the idea came from, was how can, so I guess to like really back up, ever since I got sober, I have been kind of like anti pills or ingesting anything.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't take Advil. I haven't taken ibuprofen. I haven't taken any of that stuff.
I'll jump on you. I'll jump on that one with you. As far as like how it affects your liver and like your body in general.
Yeah.
Like, it just thins your blood, and then just like, hey, if you take too many, you can OD on these. It's like, oh. Yeah. So it's one of the worst things you can do. Yeah. Consistently.
Yep.
And it's just like, no one told me that.
I know.
It's not suggested.
It's accessible anywhere. Yeah. It's the go-to if you're having pain issues, and it's not recognized as an addictive thing, but also if it can kill you by taking too many, to me, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, then why would I take any? It's probably not doing something good, like other than just giving me a quick fix from like any pain relief. How can I go about what I'm doing in a different way, still maybe relieve, like icing, numbing it, ice baths, things like that. And then when he recommended this, I was like, I was very hesitant at the beginning because I also don't smoke. And a common, I think, opinion or misconception of CBD is it will have some sort of residual psychoactive effects on you. I mean, that's what I thought. I thought, well, if it's related to THC, there's no way that I can put it on and I'm not going to feel something. Right. Yeah. That was how I felt, and that's how my brain told me that it worked. And so I asked Dr. Whitney that. I was like, kind of hesitant to take this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
But if you're telling me to try it, like, great. And he's like, no, like, what's great about it is you can isolate the area, right? So it's not just like you're taking an ibuprofen and you're throwing it, you're drinking it down with some water,
Right.
and then it's just kind of dispersing through your body. Like, this actually is going directly to the pain area and also reducing inflammation, trying to help your body recover while it's blocking the pain receptors. And so on top of doing the right things from a recovery perspective, so for me, before I go for a run, I typically throw the roll on just like on like my Achilles or my calves, just because I've been running a lot. Like in May, I ran, this probably isn't like that much in terms of like crazy runners, but I think it was like 160 miles or something like that in May. So
Way more than I did.
yeah, it was, sorry.
She's fine.
It was a lot on the legs. And so
absolutely.
I haven't really given them much of a rest since then. I'm
Yeah.
still, training pretty hard and running quite a bit. And so I put it on my Achilles pretty much every day before I go for a run. And then before I go to bed, I use the pain cream and I just like lather my legs up. And it's called pain cream, but really what it is, it's just a lotion that has CBD, arnica, cocoa butter. So it's just like a really enjoyable, nice feeling lotion that you can put on, and it's real. You can't OD on it. You can't take too much of it. So you can put it all over your body. And the
Skin's gonna feel real good.
Yeah, skin feels great, but the skin is an organ, so you got to take care of your skin. And my legs, when I wake up, I feel refreshed and much better. And it's cool because the feedback that's coming in from people that have tried it and that are like athletes that are testing it and using it, like your buddy Dylan, he's like, dude, it literally actually does help. Like, and he's competing at the highest level. I mean, that guy trains like 3.5 hours a day, 4 hours a day. It's insane.
He posted, he's like, this is what I did on a 5-hour training day.
Yeah.
My God.
I know. And I run 45 minutes a day and I feel the way that I feel. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's kind of just like a tool that you can throw in the toolbox and, make sure you're still doing the recovery things like rolling and taking ice baths and doing other stuff like that. But knowing that it's not going to harm me was like the big sell for me when Dr. Whitney told me that. Yeah. Because I thought, well, I'm just going to deal with the pain on my ski trip. Okay, well, and I used to smoke, so it's not like I really hated the idea of THC. I just didn't want any high. Like I literally didn't. And it's actually really kind of interesting too, the whole science or the whole story behind like hemp and cannabis and stuff, and how it was demonized back in like the 40s or 30s during like Prohibition, that whole time period. Kind of to push an agenda and a narrative. And then you got to like the hippie movement and all of that. And now it's kind of coming back around. Yeah. But I do think that there is a stigma attached with the term CBD.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, for me, that was a big reason why I started Vital Athlete. Was with my story and with my experiences, I want to help people. I want to bring what I've gone through and try to help people in any way, shape, or form that they need help. I mean, with healthy lifestyle, I want to promote a lot of like things that people can benefit from. So I kind of just lost my train of thought, but yeah, and so that was the reason why I thought, okay, well, that in and of itself as a project is great because I can try to help people, but then also there's a stigma around CBD, which now all of a sudden I'm finding to be incredible. And listening to books and listening to podcasts and listening to all these success stories, it's not a one size fits all, but it has helped people with like so many different things. Like aside from just like acute pain, like if you use it on a regular basis, like it has actually helped. It's like studies have shown that it's helped in I don't know. I mean, you can do the research.
Let's hear it. What do we got?
Well, I don't even know. Like, there's anxiety, there's depression. People that have been taking it for a long time have actually like, been known to like kick depression and or at least like limit their anxiety. I mean, I've heard stories of like I don't want to say cancer because cancer is obviously the big C word.
Oh, let's send it.
But
cures cancer.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with that. No, I don't want to make any like claims, but it's just what I've been learning about it has just been incredible.
Yeah.
And it really does seem to be very, very powerful.
Can pregnant women or nursing women use it?
So there's not a ton of studies out about its effect.
Kind of hard to test that.
Yeah. It is kind of hard to test that.
Hey, ladies, come test this thing that you think might be related to THC.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But we're using you to
Yeah.
figure out if it's okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe test it on animals first.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say
put Neuralink in.
Yeah.
They can just tell you exactly how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Done.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah. Elon, I'll contact Elon. We'll get him going with that. Vital Athlete plus Elon Musk can be a new technology.
Perfect.
Yeah, I would say probably not. Like, don't, just because there isn't that much science on it, but you kind of just use that at your discretion. Like I think the big thing with especially like women that are postpartum, like they may be breastfeeding or they still kind of have things going on that the baby can it can translate into the baby, and I don't think it would harm the woman. I think that I think the studies are more so for the child and the infant, and obviously you don't want CBD cycling. Yeah, I mean hopefully they're already pretty relaxed. They're in probably their most comfortable state of their whole life in the womb, but. Yes, I would advise against women using it if they're pregnant or breastfeeding or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you can use your own discretion. It's not like but yeah.
So how'd you pick these two? Just so you had the cream when you went to you went skiing, and then how'd you come up with the roll-on?
The roll-on was something that I kind of saw circulating the industry. And something that I wanted to try myself, because I've always used like BioFreeze or
Tiger Balm. Just love that smell.
Yeah, Tiger Balm, dude. That's what the balm that I got. Obviously Vital Athlete didn't exist when I first tried the other stuff that I tried, and it smelled just like Tiger Balm. And it was like, I mean, you walk in, it's like a scented candle. I'm like the scented candle. It was crazy.
There was one time where I would give Jessica a fair amount of massages, way more before we had kids. But
come on, dude, gotta get back to it.
She's asleep. Start and she's like, So I got one with like the Tiger Balm, and it was like really nice at the beginning, but then
her back was on fire. She's like, "What are you doing to me?" Yeah, I could. That might be a little alarming. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But I was like, "Oh, maybe a little bit too much there."
And that's actually the thing about Tiger Balm. I think I don't know this to be true, but I think with those things, like the more intense that the heat is, or with BioFreeze, the more intense sensations of the cooling and the heating effect is like what takes away from the pain. Mm-hmm. It's like your body's more focused on those sensations than the actual pain itself. The Vital Athlete roll-on has menthol in it, so but it's very subtle. I mean, you've used it. It's not like it's not over. Right, do you? Yeah. There you go. I don't, but I have the pain cream. It's not intense. I mean, it's actually very soothing. I thought my mom would love the pain cream. Yeah. Because she had some like just like neck tension, things like that. So when I first was starting out with this and I had some samples, I brought her both, and I was like, yeah, I think you're gonna like the pain cream, but whatever, use both of them, try them out, see what you think. And she used them both. She tried the pain cream one day, and then the following day she tried the roll-on. She was like, I actually really like the roll-on because it's a no mess application. Yeah. Like you don't get it all over your hands. You kind of just apply it to wherever you need to, and then you're done with it. And it does feel really nice. It's a little bit more. It has a little bit more of the menthol freezing sensation. Than the pain cream, but the pain cream does have a tiny bit of that, when you put it on, but it absorbs really, really quickly. It's something very cool about the manufacturing process that we go through while we're making the CBD is called a nano emulsification process. Most CBD companies out there don't do this, and what it's for. The science behind it is that your skin and your blood can only absorb a certain amount of molecules and certain size molecules. Okay. So CBD, before it's broken down in a nano emulsification process, or before it's broken down into the nano form, is too big to absorb all of the CBD that's going into your bloodstream.
Okay.
So it's actually, when you put it on, it's like you're basically wasting the active ingredient and the reason that you're putting it on, right? When you put the pain cream on, you're putting it on to address pain, or you're doing it to kind of relax yourself. You get out of a nice hot shower and you want to put it on before, like you put it on your back or your neck before you go to bed. That helps with just kind of reducing inflammation overall, just kind of reducing stress and bringing your body back down to like a very relaxed state. Not that if you like put it all over, you're gonna like I said, like you're not gonna feel like you took an edible or a gummy, and that is what people fear, is they don't want to like feel stoned after they put the stuff on. So anyway, so you won't. But when you put it on, the molecules are in a size that your body can actually absorb pretty much all of the CBD, and so the efficacy of the product is much higher than what a normal CBD product would be. So that's why, and I think you can attest to that, when you put it on, it acts almost instantly. Like when I put this on, when I put the pain cream on or the roll on, within 5-10 minutes, I'm already feeling it go to work, which is fantastic. And so that is the nanotechnology at work, absorbing into your bloodstream quicker, and you're absorbing more of the active ingredient. Both of these are 1,000 milligram CBD formulas. There's higher and there's lower. There's 500, which is like a very, very like moderate or like very light application. And then you have like, you can get up to 2,000, I think 3,000 even, which is like extra strength. You would want to be careful just obviously overusing that, because maybe then you would start to kind of feel fatigued and drowsy. Like that would be one of the
Okay. So there is a top end where you can use like a dosage would be too much.
Yeah, I've never experimented with it or tried it, but that, you know, that is my understanding of once you get into like the super high strengths, it can just kind of like relax you, put your body into like a relaxed state.
If you ever want someone to test it out for you, I mean, let me know.
Okay, yeah. If you want to if you want to sleep that much better, I'll get a 2,000 or maybe a 3,000 milligram strength. But and it is something that, you know, for people that are maybe going like football players, like linebackers, and people that are just kind of constantly getting knocked up, not knocked up, but
immediately as you say that, I have a friend that she's going through like cancer therapy, and she has to take like edibles to fall asleep for whatever, because the chemo or whatever it is, that's just like she's not having a great time falling asleep, so she's taking edibles. So I'd wonder if CBD is an option that she's looked at. But yeah, as you were saying, when you first gave it to me, you're like, hey, do you have any like, can you give this a shot? And I'm like, yeah, I want to make sure like I have an injury. And I was playing volleyball, I think like either that week or like later, and I fell on my wrist. And then for like a couple of like days or weeks, just getting up on that wrist was like annoying. I'd either have to go to like a fist or I'd go to like my left hand. But really, I'd usually
probably should have put a brace on, like maybe.
But like just because I'm constantly on the floor with my kids, and then I put the roll on, and I was like it doesn't hurt, like because usually when I look at stuff, I'm like very suspicious. It's like what do we got going on here?
You and I are similar in that. It's like anything new that I introduce into my body or into my diet, I'm like, what is this going to do for me? So yeah, absolutely.
And at first I was like, hey, like I'll reduce the inflammation in my diet first, see if that gets rid of it. And like it helped a little bit, but like you said, it acts very quickly, and I was very surprised, because I would say when I worked for a supplement company, and then after I stopped working for her, I was like, oh, I don't need to take any of these things. It's kind of a little bit of a hope, like your body through your diet and through different not supplements, you can still get the supplements that you need, right?
You know?
If we're looking at like 100% performance, and I'm only kicking it at like 30, and then I add in like a protein shake for an extra like 2 or 3%, like that ain't doing it for me. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure like steroids, they're saying it's like a extra 5 to 10% improvement. So like if you're not crushing it, like even steroids aren't going to be doing it
Yeah.
for you. So,
Yep.
no, I've been very happy with this so far. So when you go into like the formulas and the nanotechnology, is that just from research you've done? Like, hey guys, can you do this? Does the not contractor, who's making it?
Manufacturer.
Does the manufacturer come to you with ideas, or how do you figure out what you're going to do?
Yeah. So the manufacturer that we're contracted through, that we're working with, has been doing nano emulsification they've pioneered kind of the technology since 2014. So there's not many CBD companies out there that actually have nanotechnology CBD or that even advertise it as such. So I was pretty particular in who I wanted to work with, and there's different manufacturers out there that you can kind of work with them directly, and then that then becomes the Vital Athlete product. And so I kind of vetted a few different companies, and I sampled out a few different things, and the way that I had the same like neck issue. It's kind of chronic. Like I think I have a twisted vertebrae. And I think that it just screws with like my nerves. And so sometimes I'll just wake up in the morning and my neck will be a little bit tight, and I'll have like a little crick. And so all the other things that I tried, they were not as effective as what is now the Vital Athlete product. And so it just, through kind of a refining process and figuring out what manufacturer to work with and who I think was going to work the best and that kind of thing. I always say Vital Athlete, it's not something that I have started for like a monetary reason. Like I have a great job. Like we talked about Windy City Wire earlier. Like I don't plan on ever really leaving there. Like I love that job. It's given me so much, and I enjoy doing it. I get to travel. I get to go see customers, and then in my free time, instead of going to the bar, I go for a run. Like if I'm in Florida, I'll go find a beach and go for a run on the beach.
Or start a company.
Or start a company, 100%. But that's like, that's when I get home after work. That's not when I'm traveling.
Right.
But no, I wanted to, my whole purpose for the company is to, again, just like promote health and wellness. And if I can help one person, like that's great. And I've already helped.
I think you've already.
I've already helped multiple people. There's people out there that have used it. One of the first people that actually bought it from me was an Army veteran that had really bad knees, and he uses the pain cream and loves it. So it's for me. I would love the company to grow into this kind of hybrid supplement company. The supplement companies, I feel like that market is kind of saturated. I'm not going to be a protein, amino acid, that kind of company. But if it's a natural ingredient and I think that it can help people and help improve performance, I want to explore that and try to bring it to the public. And I want to experiment with some of those things. I've kind of loosened my reins on how I feel towards like experimenting with these things because of CBD. There's cordyceps, there's lion's mane, there's magnesium. There's a lot of things that can improve your sleep or improve. And like you said, it may not make a difference for those things. At least the CBD is different. That can be used anywhere, anytime. Like you have high school and collegiate athletes that use it, or you have people that get reconstructive surgery, whether it's like an ACL surgery or something, they use it for recovery. Or my grandma, she has arthritis in her hands and she uses it, and she said that it's helping with the pain.
There we go.
So she also had her wedding ring on too tight, so her wedding finger or her ring finger doesn't close properly. But maybe one day we'll get her there. So the CBD is a different animal, but for me, and why I named the company Vital Athlete is because I don't want it to be categorized in the CBD world. I think that's another market that's saturated. I want to bring people performance products, and then kind of not ask questions later, but understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. By the information that we can give them, so a big part of it is, on the website, I want to have blogs, I want to have recovery instruction, I want to have all different types of information, because if you can perform, so if you're a top performing athlete, or if you're a dad who wants to just kind of go out and go for a run every few days, it makes sense to have information at your disposal that you can trust and that you can rely on to kind of make your body optimizing your performance. So yeah,
well, I think the nice thing about these is generally when I talk to somebody about a supplement, it's like, all right, how are you going to run the science experiment on yourself? Because if you just add in fish oil, magnesium, creatine, your new protein powder, your B12, whatever it is, like how are you going to know which one's working?
Yeah.
Like at what dosage, what's the best for you? And for this, it's real easy. Did the pain start going away? Does it still hurt? Is there less? Is there better movement? So that's very nice.
Yeah, definitely. And it, you know, even again, if you're not doing it for pain management, if you're doing it just for performance, like I said, if I put it on my legs before I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning, I feel more refreshed. Like every night I go to bed, my legs feel like they're 100 pounds, and they actually probably weigh more than 100 pounds as it is, but they feel extremely heavy. And I'm like, I just don't want to get up and go for a run tomorrow. I can't imagine how I'm going to go for another run tomorrow. And then I wake up in the morning through great sleep, which again, like CBD has been found to improve sleep because like the whole reducing inflammation and, you know, stress relief and all that. So overall, it's just this great product that can, like you said, you have a tangible result that you can actually feel. Yeah. And then on top of it, once you kind of use it, you realize there's no harm in using it. And so why not use it more rather than not as much? Because it's just only going to help you in ways that your body, you may not know it's helping, but also you can actually gauge those results, which is the beautiful thing about it. So it really was like the aha moment for me, and the barrier, like the barrier to entry of being an entrepreneur. I was always like, well, I don't know what I truly want to do and like what my calling is. You know, before I started this, it was like, oh, maybe we should start a baby clothing brand or this or that. And it's like, but do I really want to do that? Do I want to just jump into that sea? And when I decided to work on the CBD thing, it was, can I change? How can I bring what I know about CBD to other people and change the narrative of what CBD actually does? And that's just a really cool project that I find excitement in. And so again, maybe one day it'll be a great company, and we have, I think it's going to end up being a great company and have an incredible community, you know, because that's where I want it to get one day. I want it to grow into people using it and associating together and going places and doing things together, like running and, you know, doing, you know, I mean, like Spartan races. Obviously I'm not going to put on like a Vital Athlete Spartan race or something like that, but encouraging people to get out and go do healthy things that they can get joy out of together. And through just selling products to people, I want to kind of build the community that people can kind of latch onto. So
what's been your like personal for yourself, not helping somebody else out, but what's it been like being a business owner?
Fun. Like straight up. I have enjoyed every minute of it.
That's awesome.
And that is the beautiful thing about how I'm starting this. It's organic, man. Like I'm not invested in it. I don't have this huge, you know, monetary investment. I built the website myself. I bought the products, and I decided, you know what, from my sales background and my experience, maybe I can get it to some people that can help build it and promote it through their own channels and things like that. And if it actually truly works, which it does, that should be enough to build credibility behind it and then get it to where it needs to be. So I'm not like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, you know, trying to just get this thing take off. Right. So my family and the food on my table doesn't rely on Vital Athlete selling every single day. So it's fun for me to take pictures wherever I go and you know, take cool, like look at it from the creative angle, but also look at it from the sales angle, and which is like something that obviously hits home to me because that's my day-to-day job. So I enjoy reaching out to people with a purpose and that aligns with like my passion.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed it. I can't say that maybe I will forever because I think as the company grows, I think that the growing pains may be where the true stress kind of comes in because then all of a sudden it's like, how much is this taking away from family time? How much is this taking away from other important things in my life? But right now it's been fun just because all the feedback has been positive. I've launched it, so it's off and running, and I look forward to talking to people about it and just kind of growing it from where I sit.
So specifically, who is your target market? Like who's, if you're going to break it down, who are the people that you're going to be selling it to?
Well, like high performing athletes is definitely one of them. Runners, ultra runners, triathletes, high rocks athletes, CrossFit athletes, people who put their body through the ringer every single day, but it doesn't have to be that. That's the community that I want to build around, but it's not limited to that at all. I mean, there's a huge, call to market for it in the military industry because of what they go through and the rigorous training that they go through, and there's a lot of people obviously with mental health. So I have honed in on a certain market in terms of like promotion and trying to get certain people on board. But as of right now, with the two products that we have, which are the CBD products, it's anyone and everyone. And that's also a fun part of building it, is learning more about different people and like actually like bringing it down to a human level and like in the individual level and seeing, okay, well, maybe you're not the mold of Vital Athlete, but also this can help you. Like, I think that this, like, I mean, every single person I talk to, I mean, like I go golfing with my uncle and my cousin and my dad, and it's like, you could probably use it. It's kind of like, it's endless in terms of who could really benefit from the use of the Vital Athlete products or CBD products in general, however, you want to take them.
I feel like most people at a certain age, they're like, I got this pain. That's annoying. My back hurts. Or
exactly.
I was shoveling or mowing the lawn, or I was picking dandelions or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be interesting for someone to give it a try and be like, hey, this worked, and then where that would go for them. Other than running a business and working and hanging out with the kids, do you have time for anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I travel with work, and so I'm gone every couple days a month, or maybe more than that. But no, I mean, I like to go up to Lake Geneva to see my mom, and swim with the kids, and I still try to find time for myself, or myself. I say myself, but with the kids, and watching sports or reading a book, listening to a book. I actually just bought a new book. I listened to the Jack Carr Terminal List series.
Oh, okay. I saw you post about that.
Yeah. So that's kind of my vice, but I read it or listen to it instantly when it comes out, and then it's like I gotta wait a whole year for the new one. But I just got the new book, and every time I buy the book, but it's typically after I listen to the audiobook version, and I just buy it to have it. But I'm trying to actually read this one, and it's killing me because I know I can go on my phone and listen to it. I've already downloaded it on Audible. I started on Audible, and then I got the book, and I was like 3 chapters in, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just read this one. So it's killing me because I have a 35-minute commute to and from work every single day. So it's 30 minutes, 35 minutes there, 35 minutes back, and it's like, normally I'd be listening to this book and I'd already be halfway done with it.
Yeah.
But I find the idea of reading it kind of a little bit more romantic. I don't know why, but we're doing a vacation in South Haven, Michigan, coming up here in a couple weeks, and I'm just trying to get through without listening to any more of the book until then, and maybe reading a little bit, and then just like crank it out. So, no, I don't have a ton of time, but that's just that kind of suits me.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. This is the time of my life where I want to be busy and I want to be able to grind it out.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal for Vital Athlete is to turn it over to Declan and Delilah.
Yeah.
And let them have a company that they know Dad built. And for the reason, for good, like wholesome reasons, to actually help people and connect with people and, turn it over to them. And I think that's a really, really powerful thing to turn over to your kids, especially in this day and age, where there's a lot of clutter, there's a lot of noise. I want them to disconnect, and I want them to always remember to look at people on a human level and understand what people are going through and listen to what they may struggle with or they may have going on in their lives. And that those are things that I want to, instill in them, and Vital Athlete hopefully will, one day eventually manifest itself into just a playbook for them of what I did and what they can learn from. So
where did this strong will to be a fantastic father figure? Because I know before you started the company, just all your posts and things like that, was that a role model, or like where did this idea come from? Just because I feel like you're crushing it as far as the father figure goes.
Well, thank you. I just can't get enough of my kids, man.
Yeah.
I had a great upbringing. Like my parents were amazing. My mom, shout out to my mom. I mean, she gave me the most amazing mother's love like you could ever ask for.
Yeah.
I mean, she was my best friend. We cuddled all the time. Like we hung out. As years gone on, like my dad wasn't really all that affectionate, but we've developed a great relationship and we've become really good friends. But I don't know. I always hated when people would like big up their kids and be like, oh, my kids are so special and this and that, because of course every parent's going to say that.
Yeah.
But my kids are just amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel very, very blessed to be their father. And I know that the moments will pass very, very quickly. And so I just try to devote my time to them. I also love the idea of like disconnecting from kind of the current trend of the world and the social medias and the noise and all this. And I guess if I had to put my finger on what has led me to just like the appreciation I have for like the quieter things and really like family oriented goals is, I don't know. I think it's just kind of inherent in me. Like,
okay.
I think it's just like, I think I'm very similar to my mom, and the love that my mom gave to me, is kind of how I treat my children, So, and I'm just kind of blown away by them because I think they're the most incredible humans, and my wife made some good ones. So I get to just sit back and relax and enjoy what she built. Or what she made. And so I just feel lucky to be a dad. And the whole alcohol addiction and battling alcohol for 10 years and however many years it was, but that has given me a lot of perspective,
right? Because
I've seen what my life could have been with, the damage that I was doing to myself on a regular basis, and getting blacked out drunk and, not prioritizing my wife and, just everything, like getting to rock bottom. Once you kind of build yourself back up, life looks a lot differently at that point. And Declan was born 6 months after I got sober. And, I think I told you this, the way that I got sober was not through going through rehab or going to AA or anything like that. Like it was just literally, to me, divine intervention and hard work. Like something clicked. And I decided that was not how I was going to live my life, and that wasn't going to be the father that I want to be. And so I kind of look at being a father as a second opportunity in life to just kind of get it right. And so that has just become basically my purpose.
Yeah. Well, because you didn't do rehab or any of that stuff. It was it Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
That you missed the family event? That's what the precipice was?
Yeah. Christmas Eve got smashed like every other night. Not every other night, but a couple times a week. And then woke up, Kim was gone because she would just get so fed up when she knew that I was drinking that she would leave and go spend time at her mom's. And my mom and her husband were at our house for dinner and they left. So I was just completely alone. She was pregnant and she was at her mom's house, and she was just like, so disappointed and didn't want anything to do with me because it was just another disappointing evening. that I ruined. And then I finally got over there because I was just hung over all day. So I laid in bed and I lounged around and I missed a family party, which to me was like one of the most embarrassing things in the world, because my family has always been very, very important to me. Like my cousins, we were all very, very close growing up. My aunts, my uncles, like that was a big thing. And for Justin and Kim, pregnant wife Kim, to just randomly cancel and not show up at the Christmas party just like tore me apart inside. And I just didn't want to be that person in my family anymore. Yeah. And also what's kind of cool now is like Declan is the only living DeBoer name from our family. Okay. Because he's the only boy. So through all those cousins, I have one male cousin, the rest are female. Yeah. And so any of their kids, and my male cousin isn't married, and maybe he'll have kids one day, who knows. But as of right now, he doesn't. And so Declan is like the only DeBoer, and again, life could look so different for me if I didn't get sober. Like I'd probably be divorced. I probably wouldn't see my kids all the time. Yeah. Like there's a lot of negative impact that would have had if I didn't get my shit together. And so yeah, I look at it like a completely different light.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll finish it up with the same 2 questions. Well, answers
two questions.
They can be the same as last time, but maybe they'll be different.
I forget them, so they'll be
new
to me.
What is your definition of health? Not necessarily the dictionary definition, but what is health to you?
Health is kind of freedom to me, in a way. Like you can't really do anything in life without having your health. And that has become more and more evident to me as time has gone on, that if you're healthy, even if you are healthy, things can change in an instant. I mean, you could get cancer one day. You can, all of a sudden you could die in a car crash. So having your health and being able to appreciate what your health can give you, and kind of taking a step back and looking at what your life would look like without your health, or like if you weren't even like on this planet anymore or whatever, it's a freeing feeling, because if you know that you have your health, you can then put effort into so many other things. Right. And I get to drive, like I get to drive home from work every single day. It's not something probably a lot of people think is a luxury. Right. But like literally I get to drive my truck, listen to music, watch the sunset, look at the clouds, look at the sky, because I'm healthy. So it's effort and it's freedom. You have to put effort into it, but it can give you a lot of privileges that maybe you take for granted.
Absolutely. And then what's something from your life that you think people listening to the podcast would be able to take away as a positive?
Hopefully a lot, but I would say mostly is that if you can listen to this podcast and you can listen to my story and what I've gone through, then you can rewrite your story if you need to, or have the desire to, or maybe you don't need to, but there's things that anybody can improve on. For me, I just always chase the things that I can improve on, whether it's big, small, like kind of irrelevant to other people. Yeah. If it's something that matters to me, then it's something that I want to focus on. And anybody can do that, literally, with the power of the mind and the power of a healthy lifestyle. You can pretty much achieve anything that you want. So hopefully I'll get there, but if I get to where I want to be, then I'll just keep on going, find something new. So.
Absolutely. Boom. There you go. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.